Anyone else who hasn't spoken would like to come up? Okay. Oh, okay. Second round. All right.
First round. Okay, all right, first round for the dinner.
So I'm Mike Jung, and my name's been mentioned a hell of a lot up here. That I happen to have left the HCN in Paul Winder's hood. I happen to have helped Paul Willard escape the ladies of the night in Moscow. I've helped a number of people with secretaries in Switzerland, and Gilbert and I got along extremely well. I was a grad student from 69 to 73, and he was an absolute wonderful person to work for. And as I said earlier, after graduating, I became even closer to him because my student, Musman Suri, came back as a postdoc with Gilbert and worked here. And the fated dinner when Muzz and I were taking Frances out for dinner. We decided we'd take Frances out for dinner, and she said, "Do you mind if I bring some people along?" We said, "No, that's fine. Who is it?" He said, "It's Gilbert and Winifred." I said, "Oh, yeah, what am I going to say? No, yeah. No, that's a great idea." And so they brought Diana, their daughter, along, and at that dinner I remember saying, "Muzz, this is Diana, Diana, this is Muzz," and sparks flew, and they became an item, and they're still an item. And I don't know, it just welded us even tighter together. And so Gilbert and I became very close friends, and over many, many years, with all sorts of crazy things happening between us, as Amos knows, Gilbert had an apartment in Paris, and Amos and I are two of the very few people that had permanent keys to that apartment. And when Amos went there, I don't know what he did, but when I went there, Gilbert gave me a list of things in the apartment that were broken that I should fix. There was never any money behind to pay for that, but nonetheless, it got fixed. It got fixed, yeah, at the end, it all got fixed. And, I remember so many stories of Gilbert, travel stories in particular. The one that Winifred actually told me years ago, where they were traveling in Europe somewhere, and they were in those days on a train going through one country after another, and they're in their car, and Gilbert gets up and goes down to the club car, and there are people down there having a drink, and Gilbert says, "This is a wonderful idea." So he goes back and gets Winifred and brings her up to the club car, and they sit there and they drink for a while, and not worrying about it. Then after a while they go back to their car, and the train has been cut off, and their car is now on another track in some other country. And Winifred, of course, gets all upset because all of her clothes are in the car that's somewhere else. And Gilbert says, "Well, come on, you always said you wanted to travel light." Also, the time that they flew into Hawaii and are leaving Hawaii to come back to the States, well, it is the States, but back to the mainland. And Gilbert is driving, and as everyone has mentioned, Gilbert and driving was always an exciting thing. And they're driving back to the airport, and Gilbert sideswipes a car on the side of the road, and it's like, oh my God, what are we going to do? And there's no one around, the car is just sitting there, but Gilbert can't leave without doing something, so he pulls out a piece of paper, writes on it, "My name is Gilbert Stork, I hit your car, I'm very sorry, please call me," and blah, blah, blah. Puts it under the windshield and jumps back in the car and drives to the airport, and then realizes that he wrote the note on the back of his ticket. And today that would be no problem because you've got it on your cell phone, but back then some sort of serious thing would happen. Ayako seems to have disappeared. I'm sorry. Oh no, there she is. So I had many, many evenings with Ayako and Gilbert because I'm a longtime consultant for Wyeth. Well, when Wyeth was still there. In fact, this is the ex-Wyeth thing there again. So ex-Pfizer, ex-Wyeth, ex-God knows what.
He was in the permanent payroll of Wyeth.
And so Ayako was my host. After a while, she became my host for these visits, and it was, a few times a year. And I'd fly in to Newark and then drive up to Pearl River. And Ayako and I would get together, and Gilbert always came out to dinner on the Wyeth dime. That was very nice. including several meals at Baumgarten's in Englewood, which is this crazy Jewish Chinese delicatessen, which is a wild place. We've never eaten there. It's well, I guess it no longer exists, but for a while it was fun. And then one night we went out to some sushi bar, and on the way back, you know, we came back to the house. This was the house in Englewood. And, you know, I had my car there, and I jumped in my car to go home, and they went in the house, and the house had been completely ransacked. So Gilbert was so worried that I, you know, somehow called up someone to come in and ransack his house. Anyway, this has been a fabulous evening. I've enjoyed myself enormously. The chemistry that we've seen has been fabulous.